Welcome to UCF Knightline, your source for UCF sports and former player information.
Hello, Night Nation. I'm Andrew Phegley, joined by Trylko at the 1148 studios. This is episode number 94 of Knightline. Before the UCF home basketball game against Houston on Saturday, there was a moment of silence for two UCF alums, two law enforcement professionals killed in the line of duty in Orlando this past week. We begin by sharing our condolences and deepest sympathies to the families and friends of former UCF football player, Orange County Sheriff's Deputy First Class Norman Lewis, a member of the Knights on the offensive line from 2000 to 2003. We also remember Sergeant Deborah Clayton of the Orlando Police Department, two members of the UCF family who made the ultimate sacrifice for our community. UCF President Dr. Hitt said Master Sergeant Clayton and Deputy First Class Lewis dedicated their lives to making our community safer and were outstanding role models.
You know, it's difficult to make the turn to games of sport, but we're going to try on this edition of the Knightline podcast. We have our countdown to signing day. It begins with an interview you're going to hear in just a moment from quarterback Darriel Mack Jr., who's committed to UCF and is expected in the fall. And we're also proud to say that we've got a new Hoops Insider going to be breaking down men's basketball for us week in and week out, and that is a former UCF men's basketball player, Isaac Lang. You're going to get to know him, what he's been up to, his travels around the world, and what he thinks of the Knights, especially after a very impressive win over Houston Saturday.
Before the new Knights charge onto the field, they're on the line with us. Meet the new players that will wear the black and gold in this week's Recruit Spotlight.
Darriel Mack Jr. is stopping by Knightline to talk about the recruiting process. Darriel, thanks so much for joining us on Knightline.
Thank you guys for having me.
You're from Virginia, and you are a dual-threat quarterback rated on Rivals as a 3-star, 6'3", 215 pounds from Norfolk, Virginia. You've got offers from a lot of people. You've got offers from Power 5 schools. You've got offers from pretty much every American team. Why UCF?
Just being around the coaches, being around campus, taking my visit there, just seeing the homie vibe of the school and see what Coach Frost did for the program this past year just led me to my decision because I really want to be a part of something special, something great.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think that you're going to be coming in the fall, but I think that you still, with the play last year of a freshman quarterback, Mackenzie Milton, there could be a chance, obviously, to really compete in the fall and maybe have a chance.
Definitely. I plan on going down there, showing my talents, and just competing with Mackenzie or in any other quarterbacks that come in. Just take my shot, you know.
For UCF fans who haven't seen your tape, talk about your style of play. What can fans expect from you when they see you on the field?
Just a dual-threat guy that can choose either to sit back and pick defenses apart, or if something's not there, extend the play and get whatever I can get to help my team win.
What coach is recruiting you for UCF?
I talk a lot with Coach Verduzco. Coach Eric Shenander is the recruiting coordinator of our area, and I talk a lot with Coach Frost, too. Did
you know anything about UCF before recruiting was underway?
Definitely, because, like guys like Blake Bortles and Brandon Marshall, just watching those guys thrive in the NFL really kind of led me to do some, like background, stuff like that, some research, and found UCF, and ever since then I've been watching them since.
And I talked to you about this before we went on our interview, before we started recording, but you are 100% with the Knights, correct?
100%, yes, sir.
All right. Well, that's important because, I mean, and I don't. When I talk to you, I didn't really tell you this, but I don't really normally do this very often. I don't really talk to guys until they sign, just because,
right.
I mean, you guys are young guys. You're still high school guys, and a lot of things can happen between now and then. But I felt like with you that, it seemed like, you were really, really high on the Knights and, really 100%. I can hear that you guys are watching the football game in the background.
Yes, sir. They're going crazy. I try to get out of the other room, but they're crazy.
That's all good.
Tell us more about what it's like to be recruited. As Andrew started off the interview listing all of the different schools that appreciate what you've been able to do as a high school quarterback. What is that process like? You're getting messages from them. You're hearing from them. I mean, it's got to be flattering for your skills and your accomplishments.
Definitely. I think the biggest thing that's on me is just a chance to get a free education from someone. School is being able to hear from them, especially doing what I love, playing football. It really just some days I kind of sit back and just look like there's a lot of schools, a lot of good schools that people would dream and kill for to get into, and they're coming to me with sometimes great news, sometimes greater news about they're going to their school and attending their school and playing a sport that I love. So it's just a blessing that I'm able to be looked at for the opportunity.
Tell us more about those conversations with UCF coaches in terms of how they're selling you on the offense. What is it you're hearing about the offense that just excites you, knowing your style of play?
Well, me and Coach Verduzco really talk a lot. So just the fast-paced offense that they run, basically it's kind of the same system I'm coming from and at my high school now. So just being able to kind of get used to it, kind of being already in it, it definitely sold me a lot. Just being able to show both of my talents with my feet and my arms, just a blessing.
How did your senior season turn out there in Virginia, in Norfolk?
Good. Well, I got like the 757 Player of the Year, first team all-conference, I guess. I finished with, I want to say, 2,500 yards passing and 1,500 yards rushing with a total of like 55 touchdowns, I think it was.
Yeah.
But who's counting?
Those are impressive numbers.
You kind of lose count.
Those are impressive numbers for a quarterback to throw for that many and to run for over 1,000 yards. That's impressive. What kind of competition were you playing against? Is it the highest level, the biggest schools, or?
So it's like the biggest schools in the areas. We played 3 games against defending state champions from the past year. So competition was very high. Yes, sir.
A lot of guys going to play in college, obviously.
Definitely.
Okay, so you played yesterday in the blue-gray game in Jacksonville. How did that turn out?
Yes, sir. Just being around some NFL veterans and some other college commits there really just opened my eyes and showed me even more that I could play with some of the best. Just being around those guys, having fun, like any other normal team, and just being able to play the sport I love with the best. It was really a good experience. How
was your performance in the game?
I think I did pretty well. I don't remember my stats for real, but I think I did pretty well. Got some good reviews from the coaches.
Was Blake Bortles around at all?
No, sir, I wish.
Yeah, he goes out of state, I know, to train.
I'm taking a look at the weather.com right now, and it's showing 40 degrees in Norfolk. What do you think of the Florida winter so far?
Oh, man. If I could have this weather all the time, I would. Just coming from Virginia weather is crazy. Like one day it'll snow, the next day it'll be like 70 degrees.
So your family's looking forward to making that trek down to Central Florida to catch you playing at UCF?
Yes, sir, definitely. Well, my parents, we've lived in Florida previously when I was younger, so they're coming back down here with me. My mom always told me that she was going wherever I was going, so I think they'll end up in Orlando, but they're always down to travel.
So your parents are going to move with you?
Yes, sir. My parents are from up the street in Pensacola, Florida, so either they'll move around there or move closer to me.
So it's not just your commitment. Your family's making a commitment to this as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they want to be, back in Florida, and this is a perfect opportunity for them too. So
definitely.
Very cool. All right, I have these questions written down, and we really haven't used any of them. So
he's a good interview. Have you decided on a major at this point? What is it you're interested in studying at UCF?
Yes, sir. I look to major in sociology.
Oh, that's an interesting one. All right.
Definitely.
So what would your teammates say about you?
Just a pretty funny guy that anybody can approach, very approachable, a hard worker, and a great leader, down to earth. He really come to me for anything you need. Like a fun guy to be around, definitely.
So this is the show that the UCF Knight Nation listens to find out about recruiting and everything that goes on in UCF sports. What would you say to them if you could talk to them directly?
If I could talk to those guys directly, I would just tell them be ready, and hopefully I can bring our school some big things. You know, they're always going to get my best and do whatever I can to make UCF Nation better.
All right, that sounds good. Well, we're looking forward to National Signing Day and seeing your name on there, of course. And we're looking forward to the fall when you get here, and we're looking forward to you playing for the Knights for 4 years, hopefully. So how can fans follow you on social media?
My Twitter is DJ Macktastic. Is MACTASTIC1. That's pretty much the only social media I have. So.
All right, that's cool. All right, well, Darriel, thank you very, very much for talking to us. I hope that the rest of your high school career goes well, and looking forward to seeing you here in the fall.
Definitely. No problem. Go Knights.
All right, so what are you guys doing on Wednesday, February 1st from 7 to 9 Eastern? It's signing day, and Knightline, Andrew, is going to have a signing day recap show, of course. Right, of course.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Absolutely,
right?
That's what we do.
Going to be taking calls live, probably the only ones that will be taking your calls live, and we're going to commiserate about the recruiting class.
Yeah.
What did UCF get right? Who they may have missed on? Who they may have lost? Hopefully it's a stellar recruiting class, and hopefully we're talking about a lot of offensive linemen.
Absolutely, yeah, and we will have a special guest during that. I'm not going to say who that's going to be, but you will hear more about that between now and then.
It's not too far off.
Yeah.
Right? We're in the heart of it now.
We got a episode in between, maybe
a couple.
two.
Yeah, a couple.
So you'll hear more about that. It's going to be on YouTube, of course. Speaking of YouTube, we just did our YouTube Spectacular, our 2016 Spectacular.
I like that caught on, that people referred to it
Yeah,
as
well,
that.
from now on, it's going to be known as the Spectacular.
Is that what
Absolutely,
yeah.
I think that's a great, it was spectacular.
It was spectacular.
It was fun. Jeff Sharon from the Black and Gold Banneret and Eric Kohler was
the
here.
Voice of Central Florida sports.
And that was fun. It was.
Did it not fly by the way?
That
was the fastest hour.
Yeah, it was.
And we talked about everything. The line, the defense, the quarterback play, coaching. I mean, we talked about the whole season. Yeah. And it was a good time.
And thank you to intern Jason for doing running the control room.
What did he got a nickname on that show, didn't he? Or we talked about?
I think it's J Turn.
J Turn.
Yeah, J Turn is we will officially be calling him from now on. Thank you to those of you that watched that, by the way, or have watched it or whatever. It was a little bit better. We didn't have the audio snafu that we had last time.
No glitches.
Our lights actually worked.
They did not fade out.
Next time we will have, maybe the video will be a little bit better next time. It wasn't the greatest.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah. These things, they take time. We're not a loaded television studio, so we don't have all the gear. I'm getting it slowly but surely. Next time it will be even better. Also, we gave away the paddle boat tour for 2. Jeff won that. Not going to give out his email address again because I think we
may have done that during the show.
Yeah, we said that enough times
email
on there. Yeah, so we drew the email. And thank you very much to Tim, the owner of East Coast Paddle, for giving us that. And we're going to have more contests to come. Contests are fun. I like it.
Fun. When are we going? Are we not going? Are we
we'll
go
sometime. Yeah, we're going to go at some point. Maybe we'll go with Jeff. That'd be fun.
Maybe Jeff does not want to go with us.
I don't know. But we'll go. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So it's fun to do the giveaways and all that stuff, and it gets people engaged. And thank you very much for everybody. I sent out an email to everybody who signed up and all that stuff. I hope you guys got that email. So.
If you signed up.
If you signed up, you should have.
Yeah, I did not get that. I was not eligible.
Well, you didn't sign up.
Well, I couldn't, right?
Yeah.
That would have been terrible, right? I sign up, and then was it Eric Kohler or Jeff that drew the name? That'd be terrible.
That'd be bad if it was if we picked your name or my name. Well, we won.
Did you see the couple of coaching moves during the week. Kevin Smith, great UCF running back, going into coaching with Lane Kiffin down in Florida Atlantic.
Well, it's a great, it's a really good opportunity for him. He was a graduate assistant here, and then, I don't know what his official title was, the last thing that he was doing here.
It was a long one, remember? We talked about quality control specialist or something.
He deserves the chance to do whatever he needs to do for him. And, we're going to miss him, of course, and he'll never, ever not be 24K, exactly. Obviously. But that's a great opportunity for him to be under, Lane Kiffin, if it works out.
It'll be something.
Yeah, if it works out down there.
Do you remember Andrew Thacker? That name.
I do.
He coached safeties for UCF in 2015. He is going to Temple to coach linebackers, so we will see him when UCF plays Temple.
Yeah, I think there's a few people, actually, that are going to Temple. I thought I saw somebody else's name. I don't know. Maybe not.
All right, you're throwing a name out, and I don't know about that one. I just know about Andrew Thacker.
I can't remember, but somebody out there will remember that. Jason's not here because we're kind of doing late night with Knightline tonight because we had a bunch of we had a bunch of
and he's not here to tout that he did a Knightline now recently after a basketball.
That was good. He did a good job. Not a bad job for the youngin.
And Knightline Now you can subscribe to on our YouTube channel, and that's that pops up occasionally in between Nightlines.
Absolutely.
Well, ahead, we are going to be joined by our new UCF men's basketball insider joining the Knightline team. That is Isaac Lang. Stay tuned.
There are so many ways to connect with Knightline. You can like us on Facebook at Knightline Podcast or follow us on Twitter at UCF_Knightline. Check out our website at www.ucfnightlinepodcast.com for recruit spotlights, archived episodes, and more. Or, of course, you can always call us at 407-401-9184. That's 407-401-9184. Listen whenever and wherever you are on YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, or TuneIn. Go Knights and charge on!
All right, to basketball. Solid win for UCF on Saturday, 77-70 over Houston. 5 Knights scoring in double digits, led by B.J. Taylor's 20 points. A.J. Davis knocked in 15 as UCF improved to 4-1 in the American and 13-4 overall. Can you believe that?
Well, and what was good is, there were back-to-back games there with Taco Fall having a goose egg, and you cannot be competitive without Taco Fall getting some points. So he got back into the swing of things. Again, the Johnny Dawkins is doing this with, 7 deep on that roster. There's only a couple of guys they go to off the bench.
What a heck of a job. I mean, we never expected, though, 13-4. I mean, how many wins did they have?
12.
12 wins.
Surpassed.
I mean, this is incredible.
Games get harder, though. Incredible. Games get harder coming up. There's some tough teams in the American.
But Houston had a good record. So I think that that to me was an impressive win just because of Houston having a good record and Houston being a quality team.
Think about this. UCF had 20 turnovers. That's been a bugaboo all year long.
Yeah.
20 turnovers. You have fewer than that, maybe it is not even. They jumped out to this 10-0 lead and never trailed. It got to 40-39, and they stretched it back out. They kept Houston in the game at various points because of turnovers.
Yeah.
So hold on to the ball better. Coach Dawkins was funny, by the way, in the postgame about that. He was asked about that. What can you do about turnovers? And he said, I'm going to use reverse psychology. I keep talking about don't throw the ball away. I'm going to tell him, throw the ball away. He says, maybe they'll catch on that way.
I should have pulled that clip out of there, I guess. But I do have a clip of his opening statement in his press conference, and we'll hear that real quick.
Real high-level game. I think both teams played at a high level, and I'm just really proud of our guys for bouncing back, coming off a tough loss last week, to sit out 6 days, and then to come back, as sharp as they were. I was really proud of them because we worked on a lot of execution, and I think it showed tonight. And, we beat a good Houston team tonight, and just really proud of our guys' effort.
All right, and Trace, during that press conference, you asked Coach Dawkins about AJ's game with the return of B.J. Taylor.
I was really happy because I thought AJ really had a really good bounce back. He's had a couple tough outings, and he started the conference playoff great. He had 18 against Tulane, and that's the player that we know he can be. And I thought tonight was a really good bounce back for him, especially with BJ on the floor, because this is only the 5th game, I think, this season that they both have played together. And so that's hard to believe. But, with that comes some chemistry issues and some continuity, because they didn't play with each other last year either. So as these pieces start to, come together, you have to remember most of my guys haven't played that much together. So there's some chemistry things that we're still working on that as we start to clean up, I think we have a chance to get better. And I think you saw part of it tonight with AJ now kind of finding his niche in our offense and what we do, because he looked a little bit lost out there, and it was good to see him kind of find, this is what I can do, and really assert himself.
All right, you heard it from Johnny Dawkins, and let's hear what our basketball insider, Isaac Lang, has to say.
Our next guest is a guy UCF basketball fans couldn't help but root for. Isaac Lang. He joined the Knights during the 2012-13 season as a walk-on point guard at the young old age of 28. And this week, Isaac joins Knightline, our team, as our Hoops insider breaking down UCF men's basketball. Isaac, thanks for joining Knightline.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, to walk on at UCF, let's talk a little bit back, go back and reacquaint fans with you. To walk on at UCF at age 28, you must really love the game of basketball. What's your earliest memories of playing basketball?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I definitely have a love affair with basketball, if you must say. My fondest memory, my very first memory was playing in the backyard with my brothers, and that's honestly why I began to get that drive and love for the game. We used to go at it every day, all day, morning, noon, and night. And those memories of playing 21, one-on-one, 2-on-1, whatever we could possibly do to make ourselves better, that's what I definitely remember. I remember one time playing with my brother, and I went up for a layup, and he pushed me down, and I fell. We had a pool, so our backyard was kind of all jumbled up on top of each other. And I fell into the pool. He got the ball, scored it. I come crawling out the pool soaking wet, and he looked at me, and I tell him, there's no way that counts. And he's like, it doesn't matter. The whole point is, he has to do whatever it takes to get the ball to score. And ever since then, I had that mentality of doing whatever it possibly could take. So that's definitely one of my biggest and first memories of playing ball.
That's a pretty good story. That's a little sibling rivalry there. A lot of life has to have happened, though, after high school then, till you were running up and down the court with your fellow Knights. What were you doing during those years before you decided to go to college?
Because my parents passed away when I was in high school, so it was a long road of finding myself again and finding my passions, and I began a family. And all throughout that, basketball was still in the back of my mind, And I ran into a guy named Darriel Hardy, who actually played for the Spurs. He has a nonprofit organization out here in Orlando. And I just walked into the gym, Golden Rod Rec Center, and inside, in the middle of the day, NBA stars, future NBA stars as well as current. Gortat was in there. Austin Rivers was in there at that time. Chandler Parsons was there. Just elite guys, and I ended up playing with them. And after we were done playing, the guy who was running the gym, Darriel, he comes to me and he says, "Okay, so what team are you signing with next year?" And I'm like, "No, I've never played anywhere." And he said, "What about college?" I was like, "No." And from that point on, he was like, "We got to get you somewhere and get you going." And I had a tryout with Brevard Community College the very next day, made the team, and from then on, basketball was back, first thing in my life again.
So back then, of course, the dream doesn't die, and you still love the game. Was it that interaction with playing with those guys that made you decide to go try to play at UCF?
Yes, that was definitely that was the breaking point for me, because I knew I was very well. I knew I could play. I knew I could complete. I knew I was an athlete. Back in high school, when I was a sophomore, I was actually ranked in the state of Florida. So I knew I had the talent, but after time and you get older and everything, it's like, can I still do this? And literally that week of me playing in that gym with that caliber of players, it kind of clicked in my head that I could really compete and I can continue to do this at the collegiate level as well as professional.
Well, take us back to that first meeting when with head coach Donnie Jones at the time. Did he do like a double take at first glance that you might not be a baby-faced 18-year-old looking for a spot on the roster? I mean, that had to be a little bit weird, for you and him.
Oh, yes. Well, by that time, because I had played junior college prior to that, so I was used to coaches, realizing I was I could be their brother, as well as the players realizing I could be their uncle or even father sometimes in some of these cases. So it was really weird, but I embraced that role of like player guide kind of thing, and using my experiences and my abilities to really connect with players on and off the floor. And I remember my first time at that tryout, I was nowhere near nervous. I knew exactly what I needed to do, how to do it. I came to the basketball office numerous times to make sure I was going to try out and make there was a tryout date, anything I could possibly do to help my chances. And at the time, it was J.P. Clark, I believe, who is now with the Clippers. He was in the front office at that time, and he just let me know exactly, come at this time and, make sure you try, do, A, B, and C. Funny thing, it was A, B, and C was who I was. It was, talking, defense, effort, energy. Within the first 5 minutes of the tryout, I exuded all of that and more. And I knew I didn't want to be overconfident, but I knew no one at the tryout was doing the things I was doing. So I knew it instantly got the coach's attention, which led me to be invited to the second tryout and then the probation period and then on the team.
We'll talk about that then, the pride of being a part of the team and seeing action on the court, being involved as you were in practice and just helping the Knights prepare both on and off the court for the season.
That was definitely an experience because all throughout my life playing, I was always seen as probably the best person on the court at the time, or I would start and everything like that. So taking that walk-on role really made me question myself on really how much I love the game and how much I wanted to do for the game, not just for myself. And I realized the talent that we had, especially that first year. We weren't able to go to the tournament, but that was probably I think one of our best years in the past 6 years with UCF, simply because we won a lot of games. We competed every single night. We had a certain grit about us, especially with Isaiah Sykes and Keith Clanton at the time, developing into, great players. And I felt like anything I possibly could do day in, day out, on the court or off the court in practice, I would try to give them a hell on the floor whenever I was in to either defensively hound them, physically, mentally, just whatever I could do to help try to give us that edge.
Donnie Jones developed a reputation as an eye for talent, but he couldn't really put it together on the court in his tenure. What was he like to play for?
By far, Coach Jones is the nicest coach in basketball when it comes to communicating to players, getting to know them, trying to really feel them out. He was great for that. Great coach for that kind of thing. But it was just, I believe, a mixture of the coaching style mixed with the players that we had at the time because of the sanctions and whatnot. So we didn't have as many scholarships as we should have had. It was a lot of different things that played a part into our success, not really necessarily being where it should have been. But playing for Coach Jones, it was great. Like I said, he was oddly enough, people didn't realize he was a player's coach. And he would allow, if he felt like players were on a roll or had something going on that week where they could really help the team, he would give them the reins. So that was pretty much it with Coach Jones. I noticed quite a bit.
Well, before we start talking about the 2016-17 edition of the Knights, tell us what you've been doing since you played college basketball for UCF, and a little bit more. You mentioned family earlier. Tell us a little bit more about your family as well. Actually,
when I finished at UCF, I felt very fortunate to even have that opportunity at 30 years old to play Division I basketball. I honestly felt like I had fulfilled, everything I possibly could, and I go back to the gym, that same gym that got me my look to go to play college basketball. I'm in there again with these pros, and again, you put whatever you put into the game, I feel like you'll get back out. And sure enough, a couple of players, Ben Gordon was there that day. We became pretty connected, and him and Gortat ended up contacting the Magic on my behalf and said, hey, you might need to get this guy in here to get a look at him. And I was invited the very next day to Orlando Magic training camp, a private workout. And that kind of spawned on my professional hopes for playing. And I led from there to, I didn't make the team, but just being in that realm kind of clicked again in me that I knew I could play at that level if they even were there to vouch for me in that sense. So I ended up playing in the Dominican Republic that same summer and leaving from there, played over in Spain, in Germany, England, and bounced around quite a bit that year, even up in Canada for a little bit. So doing all that traveling and, fulfilling my dreams, obviously I have a huge family at home, so it was kind of like a tussle for back and forth. And ended up coming back home after the season ended, kind of feeling that family role again, but that itch to play kicked back in again, and opportunities started rolling over, and that's where China came into play. And honestly, playing out there really put my game and my view for the game in a whole other perspective. I was competing at a high level, probably my best experience by far overseas.
Sounds like we could play a game of Where in the World has Isaac Lang been? Jeez, you've mentioned a lot of countries there. And when you were talking about your style of play, I couldn't help but think, boy, you would have probably liked playing for Johnny Dawkins with the way he stresses defense. Let's dig into this season. UCF with a big win over Houston Saturday. What are your observations of the team so far as they're getting into the heart of conference play?
Oh, gosh, yeah, definitely. By far, I would have loved to play for Coach Dawkins, simply because just even watching the first couple games, that game against Villanova was huge for me because it showed the characteristics of the team. And you can see the characteristics of the team through their play, which then refers to the coaching style. No doubt about it, defense is what he harps on. Defense, energy, and hustle. It seems to be something that he wants this team to really, really drive upon. And when they played against Villanova, they showed that. They showed very good spurts for me for that game that they could definitely build off of. And if they could get that together, they could be a very, very dangerous team, especially with Taco in the middle. But this last game, I was extremely impressed at the fact that they bounced back after such a tough loss against UConn, which shows the team's resilience, especially for such a young team, for Coach Dawkins to be able to get a hold of them, get their mental back right, their focus back right, back at home, and to take on a tough Houston team that's been playing really, really good. Their two guards have really been sensational. And to take them, head on, I believe they kept the lead quite often throughout the game. And their defense and their energy is something that if they build off that and really put things together, they can be a really, really dangerous team.
In your travels and playing all over the world, who was the biggest player you ever played against? Did you ever play against a guy like Taco Fall?
Yes, actually, he was, I want to say, closest his height, if not taller. He played for, it was in China.
Yao Ming?
Bai Yi. No. It was the military team in China, Bai Yi Rockets. They actually played against Georgetown last year in like a scrimmage. They had the huge brawl with them, I believe, last year during their preseason. And but the player on their team, he is Xing Jing's either nephew or son, and he is huge. He's massive. He's about 7'8", could stand and dunk, touch the rim. He was huge. Screens felt like brick wall. By far, he was no doubt about it, the biggest player I've played against.
So with your experience of playing against a guy like that, I don't know if you got to see Taco Fall last year, but this year he's made huge improvements. I don't know if it was weight room training or just having Johnny Dawkins around, knowing how to use him a little bit better than he was used before, but talk a little bit about the improvements that he's made and what kind of a player he is and how big of a boost he is to this team.
Oh, gosh. I personally feel like he is the key to this team, whether the players realize it or not. If they can get him on a page where he realizes his height and his dominance, he can be one of the most feared players in the NCAA. But again, that comes with age, that comes with time, that comes with playing games, that comes with so much experience on the court that he will have to get only by playing. One of the things I did notice with Coach Dawkins, it's funny how you said he made this, a large jump from how he was last year. And yes, it does have a lot to do with him getting older, feeling, getting more comfortable within his body, because it's going to come regardless at some point in time in his career if he continues to play. But back when Johnny Dawkins played, he actually was teammates with, I believe, Manute Bol. And for him to, I think this is what I honestly feel like he might be able to recognize those types of things as if, when he played with Manute to kind of instill within Taco. If he can get those things, those basics down and kind of instill, especially a set of confidence inside of him in what he can and cannot do, and get that kind of fire and that desire within him, I think he can really, really do some damage.
Well, UCF's in the grind of conference play now, and going into the season, expectations were, there's not a lot of depth on this team, and there's still not a lot of depth on this team. At what point do tired legs factor in here? How long can Coach Dawkins get this level of play like was seen Saturday in that win over Houston? How much longer can he get this out of a team with not a lot of depth?
Well, it comes with in practice. I mean, that's all it will boil down to is if he continues to grind them out in practice and get that conditioning still out of them, that mindset where tired legs don't matter. Some teams, they can get that. Some teams get that, and that's when you see that second and third, burst of where did this team come from? And the next thing you know, there's sleepers in the tournament. But like I said, they're a young team, and if for somehow, some way with that staff, which I know they can, they have, by the way, great coaches there. With Coach Norris and Coach Greer and James, and I think they can really bring that out of them. But it's got to be mental. It's got to be mental where they desire it, where the tiredness doesn't matter. That's a factor of the game where it won't affect them because they do that. They have to know that they don't have a bench. They're very limited in that aspect.
You would have fit in with this team. You would have liked to come in and toss the ball to Taco and have him slam it.
Oh, gosh. I would love to run the pick and roll all day with that guy, all day long. And you're listed at about, what, 6'1"? Yeah.
So you'd have looked up to him a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Well, coming up this week, the hated Cows from Tampa come over, the rivalry on I-4. What's it like, not only conference play, but playing against a rival and having the home crowd behind the UCF team in such an important game?
Those games can put a player in a completely different mindset. It's just something about those rivalries that just gives that extra spark and that extra to really put on a show and perform. Me personally, I love the rivalries where you're playing at their house because nothing's better than an upset and the rivalry in someone else's house. But I look forward to that game, and it's my hometown, so it's kind of like torn between two hearts in a sense. But my heart definitely lies with UCF, and I hope they should be able to pull that one out. I think if they take care of business, get Taco involved from the jump, and work inside out, I think the game will be extremely easy for them.
Isaac, we are so happy to have you as a part of Knightline here, and we look forward to talking to you in the coming weeks and really getting into the nitty-gritty here of UCF basketball. We appreciate your insight, and we're really looking forward to it.
Definitely. Thank you. I'm so happy to be part of this.
It's the War on I-4 rivalry Tuesday night. I looked it up because Jason, the intern, is not with us, and it's all tied at 15 in the War on I-4 rivalry and the points between UCF and the Cows. The game is January 17th, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, CFE Arena, when the hated Cows go east, not north, from west, not south, Florida. Cows are a big dumpster fire. They're 0-5 in the American. I delight in this, don't I? Yeah. It makes me very happy. They're 6-10 overall. They recently fired head coach Orlando Antigua, who must feel some level of relief being out of the South, the West. And then UCF goes to Memphis. They actually will go west on Sunday.
All right, and around the American, games Cincinnati and SMU are the class of the league at this point, 5-0 and 5-1 respectively. In American play, UCF is also 4-1 with Tulsa 3-1 and Houston 4-2. Memphis not far off the pace, 3-2, and Memphis is normally a really good team when it comes to this stuff.
Tough game to get on the road.
So,
Tough game, but you got to take care of business first and dispatch with the Bovines.
Yep. It's all good. Women's basketball. The ladies are back in the win column, picking up their first American victory, 62-48 at Houston. UCF is 1-3 in the American and 11-6 overall. They're picking it up as well.
We own Houston this week.
It's good. Back to when we owned them in football as well. We'll get them.
And of course, reminding folks as it's a new year. By the way, Happy New Year. We didn't even. We had Christmas off and New Year's, and then we had the spectacular on the 8th. So this is our first regular.
It's great
show.
to be back. Because of what we needed to talk about at the beginning, we never really got to say that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to be back. Time off is wonderful, of course, but then again, I missed it, believe it or not.
Yeah. We've got that listener survey. We invite people again. We've gotten so many good comments, and it's things like bringing Isaac Lang onto the show. Folks were saying, you need a basketball insider.
Well,
we said, you know what? You're right.
Yep.
You're right. So
we got one.
Go to the website. Our website, also social media. Click on UCFNightlinePodcast.com. You have it pinned on Twitter, UCF_Nightline. It's on Facebook. And all of that, and complete that listener survey. Fill out the questions there where you want to tell us direct feedback. There's a bunch of other questions on there, and if people don't make it through all of those, at least tell us what you think and things that you want us to.
You can always email us and call us and all that stuff too, and give us your comments. But that survey is important to us. So
what's happening this week? Taking a look at your Nightline planner. Men's tennis, and we're going to talk about how they did this weekend. Starts this week, home match against Arizona January 16th at noon at the new USTA campus. Women's basketball is at East Carolina January 18th at 7. Then the ladies return home for Tulsa January 21st at 1 at CFE Arena. Track and field stays on the road at the Rod McCravey Memorial in Lexington, Kentucky. That's January 20th, 21st. More tennis Sunday, January 22nd. Boy, they like being at home. Auburn visits the men at noon. The women face Bethune-Cookman at 3. Then the men play Bethune-Cookman at 5.
All right, Knights in the NFL. While we're sitting here watching the Kansas City game, Ja Reed with Kansas City, Camille Ishmael uninjured reserve with the Falcons, but they're moving on to the NFC title game. We'll see about my Chiefs here very shortly. You never know. And now, news and notes from the world of UCF sports.
Men's tennis gets going, picking up a big win in their new home on the USTA campus in Lake Nona, pulling the upset over number 23 Texas Tech. Then Sunday, defeated the University of New Mexico. The men are off to a 2-0 start, Andrew.
Women's tennis underway, too, but the Knights dropped the opener in their new home, losing 5-2 to Iowa. Earlier in the week, UCF racked up wins over Flagler and Florida Tech.
Track and field opened the 2017 indoor season with 11 top 5 finishes at the UAB Blazer Invite in Birmingham.
Cheerleading. We're waiting and waiting and waiting.
Waiting
for this.
all night.
Yeah, it's 10:09, and we're still waiting to see who won the national championship for the cheerleaders. But I bet you anything, the black and gold banneret will have something about that this week.
They may very well out there at ESPN's Wide World of Sports. Now, all hail to some national champions that for sure we have. Women's flag football wins its 4th consecutive national title, beating North Carolina A&T, the 14th flag football title won by UCF. Take that, Clemson.
And finally, it's 18 straight semesters UCF student-athletes have posted an average grade point average of 3.0 or better, tallying 3.15. Women's tennis led all UCF teams at 3.64.
Okay, we can't leave now, so we're going to have to keep talking because they've refreshed. They're refreshing, okay?
Still some cheerleader information?
So 15th are the Cows. 15th Division 1A cheer are the Cows. 14
You're hearing
Minnesota
it live right now, guys.
13 Oklahoma. 12 Florida State. Going to rub that into my sister's face. 11 Western Kentucky. Refreshing.
This is live action.
10th LSU. 9th Tennessee. By the way, while we refresh, I'm going to wear a different one of my UCF shirts. Let's see how many weeks into 2017 we can get on the podcast.
Okay.
So I've got this one today. Okay, stalling. 8th, the Ohio State. They list it that way, too, by the way. The Ohio State. So that's 8th. This is Division 1A cheer. I cannot believe I'm refreshing. Number 7,
cheerleading.
University of Hawaii. We're stealing all of the black and gold Bannerets thunder this week.
We're just messing
6,
with you, boys.
Mississippi State University.
Live. You're hearing this live.
I hope this is the right category. I don't know how many categories. 5, University of Cincinnati.
This could be the mascot challenge as far as we know.
Take that, Bearcats. 5th,
this is
Cincinnati.
a classic nighttime Knightline moment.
4th,
you're hearing it all.
4th, UCF.
Oh, so the Knights finish 4th in the national
UCF.
championship.
But I will go back. We'll finish out. I think we should finish out 3-2-1. But I'll go back to 15th was the Cows. 4th, UCF.
Oh, that's too bad.
And let's see. I
Cheerleaders.
cannot believe for
this is
20
great.
minutes I've been refreshing.
Well, we have. I mean, we want to report all of it. We say everything,
3rd, University of Mississippi.
Ugh.
Mississippi. Uh-oh.
There's some good Southern girls, though, in the Mississippi area.
I'm having a Twitter problem.
Uh-oh.
It's refusing to load now. We can't. We're going to try.
Our state of Twitter.
But we have officially announced that UCF was 4th. It's frozen here on 3rd. There's a dramatic pause here.
Alabama 2nd.
No, is that the...
Yep, Alabama 2nd. University of Alabama 2nd.
Yeah, it's going to be Kentucky.
Cheerleading. Yeah, it's UK, yeah.
God, that I know this is troubling to me, that I know that Kentucky
First
is...
place, Division 1A cheer, University of Kentucky.
There you go.
All right, well...
There you go. We broke it for you.
Yeah.
By the time people hear it, they'll already know it.
I know,
we've experienced it in real time.
You heard real-time breaking news here about cheerleading. I'm glad that we were able to finish this up with something light, though, after the way that we started the show.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think that, that whole thing is very, very important. Thank your police officers when you see them, and your firefighters and EMTs and everybody that goes out there and puts their life on the line for you. This has been episode number 94. I'm Andrew Phegley.
I'm Trey Trylko. Go Knights!
Charge on.
UCF, charge on to the field. With our spirits, we'll never yield. Black and gold, charge right